I think Marsh is going to have more ways to interact with Chris. He has a couple counter spells in his sideboard, I do believe. Don't have it in front of me. I wish I did.
Yeah, we are unfortunately missing the deck lists, but we did see Marsh Usary's deck list earlier. Also, I mean, just in the matchups in general, I mean, who do you think has the edge after sideboarding here?
I still think, like, I don't know. I mean, I still feel that Chris's deck is a little bit favored.
I definitely feel like Chris is the favorite, but I mean, Marsh does have some good answers. I think
Like, if Chris ever drew a blue card, he won that game.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. I mean, Chris's deck is so unfair, and Marsh is playing a pretty fair deck. He's got the natural order thing, but that's so much slower than what Chris is doing.
For sure.
And, I mean, Reanimator, well, we saw that game. Turn 2 Iona. Yes, Marsh was able to beat it. Chris drew pretty poorly. The thing is, he did play turn 2 Iona, and he had the days for the Tarmogoyf to follow it up, but that was all he was able to do, basically. Yeah. He just drew a bunch of cards that weren't useful to him at all afterward. Was not able to generate any kind of advantage.
Yeah, so I have been very impressed with both of these players' play so far. This is probably one of my favorite. That was one of my favorite games of the night.
In
both players like surprised me in play decisions, and that was enjoyable.
Yeah, that Exhume was really, really good. It just, I mean, I didn't even think about that because I don't know how many players would. So I was really impressed by Chris Walton's play. Once again, someone said he's 52nd in the country right now. Top 8 of this is going to be even higher afterwards. Man knows how to play some Magic.
Yeah.
A Legacy regular sounds like a Source native, so he knows what he's doing. Good times. Marsh still deep in his sideboard, figuring out exactly what he's going to take in and out. He did manage to pull away with the first game, but we'll see if he can take away with the second. How do you feel about decks like No Ban in this format? Do you like No Ban, No Rug?
I did when Mental Misstep was around, but I don't anymore. I'd much rather just play a combo deck and go for it. Like, these decks have their combo deck that's kind of slow, or their combo piece, but there's so many archetypes in this format, and there's a lot of information you need to know, and I feel like Marsh probably knows a lot about his deck to be winning these games. And I would much rather just be a combo deck and, try to, pull my 6-shooter and try to win. Like, just try to have the best combo for the day. I would definitely be playing a combo deck in this format, especially if I was going to go to a tournament now. If it was like a pro tour format, I mean, I would test like a ton, and a deck like No Ban would be on my radar to learn or to build upon. But if I was just going to play in an SCG Open without a ton of testing, I would probably just pick up a combo deck.
Yeah, I mean, I think the combo decks are just so powerful.
Yeah.
So incredibly powerful. You have to learn how to play them. I mean, Ari did not just suddenly wake up one day and top 8 with Storm. He's been playing that deck forever and ever and ever, learning the ins and outs of it. But, if you can get good at a deck like Reanimator or Storm or otherwise, it can really show off in your results.
I mean, I'll definitely be testing this format for the Invitational, so I guess No Ban. I keep forgetting that I have to test Legacy in the next couple months for the Invitational.
It sounds like such a drag. I have to test Legacy. Testing Legacy sounds awesome.
No, testing Standard sounds sweet. I just can't wait to activate Liliana of S over and over again.
Why don't you just do that in Legacy?
Liliana of the Veil. In Legacy?
Yeah.
Because there's Ionas that will stop me.
Well, that's what Liliana's for. -2. Sacrifice your Iona.
You'll go pro black.
Well, you just gotta, be better than that.
I always try to be better than Ionas.
I mean, Jerry Thompson piloted Liliana in his deck today. Jerry Thompson piloted Liliana in his deck today. We saw it come down, or could have absolutely turned the game around. His opponent ripped the force off the top to deal with it. But I honestly think Liliana could be the next big planeswalker on the level of Jace the Mind Sculptor. Not quite as good as Jace, and quite as ubiquitous, but just because it's not blue, and just being blue has a lot of natural advantages. You can pitch it to Force of Will. Like, the decks that play blue can naturally play it. It's a little harder to play black sometimes, but I think Liliana is extraordinarily powerful, and I would not be surprised to see her become a card that's played more in Legacy.
For sure.
I mean, a lot of people are playing strategies that center around one creature. They're playing strategies where you want to, protect your Nether Reliquary or something like that, or you just have a single Tarmogoyf that you beat down with. And Liliana deals with that and then rips apart like the combo deck's hands.
And there's also not Inkmoth Nexuses and random burn spells like targeting Liliana like they do in Standard.
Sure.
A lot of decks that Liliana would be good against, decks don't have answers for. You take the Tarmogoyf away, they might have another creature in hand, maybe. It is pretty sweet.
Yeah, Leon's pretty sweet. I mean, the other big card, Snapcaster Mage, I mean, that card is just insane. AJ Soccer, so we've been talking all day in the booth about what do we think is better, Snapcaster Mage or Dark Confidant. It's been an ongoing debate. On Twitter, people are really split on this. It's about 50-50. I talked to some of the players out there. Players are pretty split on this.
What AJ say?
I talked to AJ. He's like, I played with Snapcaster Mage in my deck over Dark Confidant. I think Snapcaster Mage is better than Dark Confidant.
Right now, not over time. In the history, yeah, Dark Confidant was great. But yeah, so we got a match back.
All right, so here we go. Chris Walton's going to be on the play. And think about his hand. got kind of like an evil grin on his face. He's kind of in evil genius mode. Looks like he's going to keep, and Marsh is going to keep as well. So Marsh starts with the Leyline of the Void on the battlefield.
Interesting.
Now that'll slow down Chris a little bit.
Does Chris have anything for that? Do we have his deck list?
We do not have his deck list.
Oh no! Does he have an out? He has to probably has an out because he knows his opponent had Leyline.
I mean, I'd imagine Chain of Vapors in Chris's sideboard. I'm sure he brought it in. Did they get deck list?
Oh wow, that is a crazy keep. Caracas, Forest, a bunch of blue cards. I like it. I like the keep. I mean, it might not go somewhere for a while, but it's so many, like, hate cards against Reanimator.
You have the Leyline, and you even have the Caracas for legendary creatures, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So looks like Chris takes the Force off the Thoughtseize, and the Thoughtseize gets exiled. Not that it matters, but that Leyline is going to really slow down Chris Walton.
All right, Forest go.
And Chris draws Reanimate, but first he's got to find an answer to that Leyline. There's Polluted Delta.
Just says go.
Just passes.
He doesn't really want any of the cards that's in Marsh's hands right now, so he's going to hold that Thoughtseize for a while. And it's going to hurt him if Marsh top decks a blue source and just has it in play for a while, and right there is an island. So now Marsh is going to be able to protect his hand and respond to the next hand disruption spell. That took me 2 rounds when I played my first Legacy tournament, or my Legacy GP at Columbus. I would keep Thoughtseizing my opponents that kept brainstorming, and I'm like, something's wrong here. I'm doing something wrong. And it took me 3 rounds. I did that against Adam Yurchek round 4, and he just destroyed me every time, and then I started saying go, and then Thoughtseizing turn 2.
Okay, there's Echoing Truth.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Echoing Truth on the Leyline. We'll pick that guy back up. And Marsh did draw the island, so he can brainstorm and try and find a force or something.
Or a daze.
Or a daze. Alright, yeah, Marsh is going to do just that. Brainstorm time.
Tries to find force or daze. Does not want the Leyline back in his hand. He can't cast it, and he wants it in play.
Alright, and put 2 cards down, potentially putting 1 back on top. Alright, moves both of them back on top. See if Marsh found daze or something like that to use. Alright, no, just gets repealed.
A good buddy of mine from Fargo just texted me and told me that Chris does have Show and Tell in his sideboard. Do you think he brought that in?
It's something he could bring in, but he might not need it here. Chris goes for Entomb. I think he's ready to just get something huge on the battlefield.
Get something on the battlefield right now.
All right, so what do you think is going to get? Iona, Inkwell Leviathan? Does he have an answer for Inkwell Leviathan?
Inkwell Leviathan probably is the best card. Yeah, there's Inkwell Leviathan. I think it is.
It looks like black. It looks either black or an artifact, one of the two. It's hard to tell.
Or a blue artifact.
Yeah, blue artifact. The artifact border is... Chris Cat's Reanimate on it. Let's see if Marsh does anything. Otherwise, whatever it is coming onto the battlefield.
Yeah, that's
Inkwell Leviathan. 7-11 Island Walk Trample.
It's a scary one.
So, how does a Bant deck deal with that?
Goes for the sideboard. Reaches for the sideboard, beats it game 3.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he knew that was coming, right? So maybe he boarded in cards to fight the Inkwell Leviathan. I don't know.
I don't think there is any to fight it. You can't give it protection from artifact and then it'll die, right?
You can't target it's got Shroud.
I know.
But however, Crystal's Life didn't go to 8, so you can race it.
Yeah, if you play Tarmogoyf.
I mean, costs some life to reanimate that guy. Reanimation ain't free these days, you know. It's
Yeah, if he can play a creature right now, yeah, he can race it.
I mean, considering inflation, that's a lot of life.
It is funny how these he reanimates and he's so low that he can be raced.
All right. So let's see if Marsh has a creature there. Nope.
All
We'll
right,
go through
yeah,
another
he's gonna
brainstorm.
shuffle after brainstorming,
And then maybe he'll have a Tarmogoyf or something.
yeah, just some type of pressure. Or maybe set up natural order if he still has it in his deck.
Yeah, I mean, potentially have natural order. That'll certainly kill Chris in one hit.
All right, there's a Noble Hierarch.
All right, Hierarch comes down. And that could, now, well, very innocuous now, that could set up a natural order if Marsh still has them. I think Marsh might have sideboarded them out, but maybe he just wants a way to close the game quickly that Chris can't deal with. I don't know if I would keep 4 in my deck, but keeping some of them might be reasonable. All right, so Chris serves in with that Inkle Leviathan. We'll drop Marsh down to 12 life.
2 more hits and we're going to game 3. Thoughtseize from Chris is probably going to lock this one up.
All right, there's Thoughtseize from Chris Walton. See what's in Marsh's
We
hand.
did get a fresh brainstorm, so he might have a Force of Will now.
Yeah, or he might have left the card he wants on top.
Yeah.
So,
Or he's hoping he did.
let's see.
So what just
looks
happened?
like Force of Will and Exhume are the 2 cards in Chris Walton's hand.
Why do we know this information?
Because we just looked. Oh, he thought he's himself?
Oh, he thought he's himself or something?
He thought he's
Must
himself
have.
discarding Angel of Despair.
Oh, okay, all right.
But, I mean, is that going to matter? Is he going to have time to take advantage of that? I don't know if he is. I mean, if Marsh goes for Progenitus here, that Angel of Despair isn't going to do very much. Okay, well, Marsh plays Jace. Jace doesn't help beat the Shroud Inkle Leviathan.
No.
And Marsh can go for a Brainstorm. But, I mean, Marsh will get 2 Brainstorms out of that Jace. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Marsh has... He doesn't have enough time for an out right now.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I don't have the deck lists in front of me. I'd love to see them, but Legacy deck lists aren't up yet online. They will be up later tonight, though. Don't you worry. All right, Chris draws and attacks with Inkle Leviathan, dropping Marsh down to 5.
Points at you. I don't care about your stinking Jace.
Yeah, I don't need no Planeswalkers.
Each player gets to return a creature, yet Chris is the only one with one, so Angel's Bear is going to come into play. Knock down that Jace.
Except for Days happens.
Not anymore.
Weird how the Reanimator deck is so often alone with the creature in their graveyard. Strange how that happens, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So unfair.
Almost like the plan for that. Alright, Marsh draws his card. Well, if there's no answer forthcoming, I see a concession. Draws 3 cards off the Jace. Marsh is looking over the board, looking back at his hand. It's
Just
like
make sure everything.
It's like an Old Spice commercial over here, you know. Looks at his hand, looks back to the board, looks back to his hand, back to the board, picks up his cards, and
goes to the game 3.
Yeah, and his cards are now diamonds. And all right, so Chris is gonna go take a quick bathroom break. Looks like, or ask the judge a question, one of the two, but I'm guessing a bathroom break. And we'll be heading into a really tight game 3. I mean, Chris did have the Echoing Truth that game, which was what mattered. But we'll see how it plays out in game number 3. Hey, everyone, back in the booth. Walla. There's a quick break happening. Gavin Verhey joined by Brad Nelson. 1 game left in this match, and then we'll head over to the finals. I'm guessing that the other match will be done, so probably gonna head to the finals.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break, get everything set up, and we'll be going on to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, can you believe almost over? We had the standard matches already. Now we're going to the legacy matches.
This is my last commentation or commentating for this year.
I know. I mean, it's so strange.
It's been fun. I love it.
I mean, the year's almost over. I remember, doing San Jose at the start of the year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, still a couple more opens left. Once again, Nashville next week with Mike Flores, commentated by Mike Flores and Joey Pasco. That is going to be a combination to not be missed.
We have what's between that and Las Vegas.
Is there an open between that and
Yeah.
Las Vegas? Let's see. There's There's here,
Nashville and Las
and
Vegas.
then Nashville, and then Kansas City, I think.
Baltimore.
Or Baltimore. Oh, Baltimore, Kansas
there
City.
are so many of these things.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of them.
This week, Nashville, States, Baltimore, Kansas City, Vegas.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Or no, wait. I think it's St. Louis, not Kansas City.
No, St. Louis on December 3rd.
Oh no, not St. Louis. All right. So
There's
yeah.
a lot more tournaments to be played.
There's a lot more opens, and of course, all these up to Invitational in Charlotte at the end of the year. You want to be qualified for this Invitational. It's huge.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Gives away tons of money in cash prizes. I mean, it's one of the most prestigious tournaments, really. I mean, it's more prestigious than a Grand Prix, I would say. I mean, Pro Tour, all right. I mean, Pro Tour, Worlds, all right. It's pinnacle of magic. But right underneath that, we have this Invitational Series. Gives away tons of money, more money than a Grand Prix, more competitive than a Grand Prix. You have to
Multi-format.
Multi-formats, you got to put in a lot of work. There's no other tournament where it's standard legacy back to back.
Yeah, it's
And-
gonna be a wonderful time.
And if you want to play in this tournament, you have a couple ways to do it. First, you come out to some of these opens. We just listed some of the last ones of the year. You come out to some of those. You do well enough, you could qualify. That's a big one.
Yeah. But we have a game to play, and maybe Marsh is thinking, hey, I'm going to get enough points. I'm going to qualify myself right now.
Yeah, that'd be a good time for our shoot. Although I think you might already be qualified. Of course, you could
Well,
also.
Chris then wants it. Maybe they're both qualified.
I think they're already qualified. I mean, they're both in the top 8, so they're good.
Oh, top 8 locks you?
I think it's. Pretty sure it's top. I'm pretty sure once they're in top 4, they're locked. Like they'll be playing the Invitational. Of course, other ways you could qualify is you could play in a local store, Invitational qualifier, which you can find at starcitygames.com/IQ.
Super IQs.
You could play an IQ or a Super IQ. Super IQs give away $1,000 in cash prizes and 2 slots at the Invitational.
Yeah.
So even
win
more,
some cash, get a qualification, use that for the plane ticket, go win more money.
it's like an old school PTQ.
Use that to go to a pro tour, win more money.
Yeah, exactly. All kinds of great ways to qualify. So you can either come to one of these open weekends. You can do a super invitational qualifier, an invitational qualifier. You just rack it up enough points by coming to these open weekends too. I mean, you don't always have to top 8. You just play enough opens and pick up some points, and before you know it, you'll be hitting the thresholds to hit the levels and ratchet your way up through the system. It's only going to get better next year. So many tournaments next year. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just one every weekend. There's not a pre-release.
Every single weekend that is not Christmas, a pre-release, or probably just Christmas, there's going to be a Magic tournament.
Maybe Thanksgiving, if that's a
maybe
weekend.
Thanksgiving.
I mean, we don't know all the details, but the important part is, I mean, between the Grand Prix schedule and the Star City Games schedule, you'll be able to play so much Magic, you'll have no idea what's
Yeah,
hitting
you can do whatever you want. Let's just say there's going to be a lot of cars with a lot of miles on them
A
next
lot of
year.
cars with a lot of miles, a lot of airplanes with a lot of miles, and a lot of Planeswalker points accrued, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, top 8 does get locked for this, so these players are qualified for the Invitational.
Yeah. Top 8 is locked. You make top 8, you're good. And yeah, I know these guys are both in, but of course you're still fighting for those points because those points level them up in the system.
Yep.
You want to get those points. We've seen players like, for example, Jerry Thompson rise up through the system. He got handed a full set of Innistrad this weekend.
Jealous.
Just 4x of every card.
Yeah.
As well as, many of the other
He's
level
like,
8s.
I need some cards for my deck today. And they're like, well, good, because we're giving you every single card. He's like, great.
Really good stuff. So heading to Game 3, Marsh is going to be on the play. Do you think how much of an advantage do you think that gives him?
Being on the play, a big advantage. He gets a turn faster to get to his Jaces. He gets to utilize his Dazes, which is a big one. Being on the play seems insane for this matchup. I think that's one thing that, Marsh has not been on the play yet. I still feel he got a little bit lucky to win Game 1, but hey, that's Magic. Game 2 seemed pretty appropriate, how it played down, and now with Marsh on the play, I think the advantage does go to him.
So, see what happens. Well, looks like Marsh is going to crack a land. I don't think he had Leyland this game. We'll see the board here in a second. But, yeah, no Leyland this time. So, Marsh is going Leylandless. And that's one thing I hate about that card. It is good in these matchups, but, man, if you ever draw one later on, it just sucks.
The great thing about Legacy is, right, you have Brainstorm.
Yeah, you do Brainstorm.
You have Jace that effectively just brainstorms.
Once I watched a player, I never played a Leyland before, drew his opening hand, played his land, and then looked down, was like, oh no, I didn't put my ley line into play. He just had this ley line sitting in his hand. That just sucks.
Whenever I play Magic Online, and one of the big things is with like the Chancellors, and I guess Leyline, is when you like, would you like to play first? You're like, yes. And then your opponent like decides to keep, and it says your opponent keeps, and then it says waiting for your opponent, and I'm like, what is going on?
Because they have
a Leyline, and I'm like,
a pregame effect.
Do I have to exit? Is Moto bugging? And I like think for a second, then I see a Leyline or Chancellor, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so looks like Chris discards on the first turn. Now that's normally a dread strategy, but he just wants to do some reanimation.
Yeah,
so he discards on the first turn. I think that's Inkwell Leviathan even.
And there's a Knight.
Well, Marsh has turn 2 Knight the Reliquary.
I mean, this is gonna be a tough one for Chris, right? Like if he doesn't have Force of Will and Marsh has a Daze, it's a tough game to win.
All right, so Chris is gonna crack a fetch land. Let's see what he's got going on here. Shuffles it up, puts down a swamp, and maybe Reanimate is coming out.
I think Reanimate's gonna hit. I mean, how much does it cost? 9 mana, 7 mana. I don't remember what Inkwell costs.
Inkwell costs 9.
9. That would put him in the 10.
Oh, okay. Thoughtseize. Gonna Thoughtseize Marsh first. Pretty sure it costs 9. 7 UU. Sounds about right.
Watanabe?
No, Hakusho.
Sumimasen?
Ka? Alright. So, let's see. Down comes Daze from Marsh. So he does use the Daze to counter that Thoughtseize. And then going to pass back to Marsh. Turn 2 Knight is very good for Marsh.
Oh, it's so good.
I mean, it's going to create a huge creature. He can go find Caracas if that becomes necessary.
I mean, if he has a land and a Jace, he gets to play it. It just actually becomes an acceleration spell right now.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He can just play a land, tap all 3, probably get a Caracas off of it if he wants to. Or another green land if he doesn't have any more. Going to crack that Windswept Heath.
All right, I feel there might be a Jace coming.
If you play Jace, you just brainstorm with it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Caracas. Oh, no, there's Savannah. Can't be Caracas yet.
Windswept Heath, find Caracas.
Seems good. First time I ever got a Caracas was so sweet. My opponent show and tells. I don't really know what the deck is, but I assume it's going to be Emrakul or Protogenesis, which I was right. And I get to go Knight and Caracas, and it felt so good. It's like one of the best feelings in the world.
Oh, Caracas is pretty incredible. All right.
What's just a basic plains? No, it's Savannah.
It's Savannah, so...
It's going to sack, go get Caracas.
Did Marsh just shuffle and cut? I think he just did a short one, right? Because he was just going to cut.
I think Marsh seems very technical.
Yeah, he's very technical. I always feel like if you can shortcut something like this, it's never really a big deal as long as you ask, hey, I'm going to use Knight too. Do you mind if I shortcut? Just because it saves time. Granted, they're not timed.
And depends how crisp you like to play.
Plus, Marsh, like you said, is playing very deliberate, very technically sound.
I mean, I think it's better for Marsh to be this way than to be a little bit on the sloppy end.
I agree. Yeah, I'd rather play tight all the time. Looks like there's a split sleeve in there somewhere. Oh, no, maybe not.
Just how he was shuffling. Something maybe got snagged.
Yes. Indeed. All right. So, tap 4. Yeah, here it comes. Oh, wait. Natural order. All right. Marsh says, race a turn 3 Progenitus.
Wow.
What are you going to do about that? Turn 3 Progenitus. Probably not the turn that that card was expected to come out on.
No.
Oh, dear. Yeah, there's Progenitus. And, man, Knight and Progenitus out? I don't know what Chris Walton plans to do here. I don't think there's much he can do.
Yeah, that has to sign the end, right? Like, how can he beat a Progenitus?
I mean, I don't know what's in Chris Walton's sideboard. If he has Diabolic Edict that could work potentially, but you have to get rid of that Knight first. All right, play the Reanimate.
Good game. He's just scooping. And there's Marsh playing very technical.
What's he reanimating?
Noble Hire? Oh, he's giving him Noble Hire?
Okay, reanimates Noble Hire.
Oh, that's interesting.
All right, so Chris gets Noble Hire. And passes back to Marsh.
Interesting.
Not sure what Chris is getting at there.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's the only thing you can reanimate without dying. I mean, that's certainly true. So I understand why he would do that. I don't know what's in his deck, but certainly problematic. Marsh is gonna play his land, and then I guess you just attack with both, right?
Yeah, I would.
Swing with the team. Count
I
up
mean,
some
it's
knight.
like a 6/6 or at least a 5/5.
1, 2, 3.
I think it's a 6/6.
Yeah, it's either a 5/5 or a 6/6. There was a land at the back I couldn't quite make it, or if there was a land at the back I couldn't quite make it out. Tap. Noble Hierarch, okay.
I guess he's gonna keep the knight back.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. Probably just attack for 11 if you want. Although the extra damage is irrelevant, so why would you keep the knight back? Just serve with the knight. And if Chris has some devious plan with that Noble Hierarch, he's not gonna jump with it. And man, if you're Chris Walton, it's like, well, this sucks. I got turn 2 knight, turn 3 progenitor.
Yeah, with a daze.
Well, with the days, yeah.
Turn 2 knight counterspell.
What am I supposed to do about that? This isn't what was supposed to happen.
No, I'm supposed to have the big creature.
Yeah, I was
attacking.
supposed to have the guy on turn 3, All right, so Chris gets Underground Sea. And of course, this is, I suppose, one of the weaknesses to this deck over something like Storm, in that you can't just combo kill your opponent.
No.
That's not an option. You do have to do it the old-fashioned way. And by old-fashioned way, it's Inkwalk, Nexus, Iona, but you can't just be like, ritual, no matter what life total I'm at. Although Ad Nauseam, I guess, does need its own life total. Alright, attacks, taps 3, plays Wipe Away, returning Noble Hierarch and Marsh's hand, and that's that.
All right.
And there's
Marsh,
the hand.
Usary takes it over.
Wow, there we go. Marsh heads into the finals with his no Bant deck. Mental Mist up gone, no Bant, still heading into the finals. Do we have a report from the other table?